going to do a short video clip today on how to read a Great Miami Valley YMCA lesson plan. Now this little mini training is not going to teach you how to write a lesson plan. If you are an administrator or if you are a lead teacher and your responsibilities include writing a lesson plan, throughout the year we have in-person trainings where we will dive more into that. This training is what every teacher should know how to at least read a lesson plan. A lesson plan tells you exactly what to do for the day. So if you are not going to your lesson plan every day and saying, what should I be doing today? Then you're probably a little lost in your classroom. So the lesson plan can be a great guide for you. First, let's kind of talk about the room. I'm in a preschool classroom right now, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is reading a preschool lesson plan. As you can see, every single table in the classroom has materials out on it. Some of these materials came right from the center and were placed on the table, but every table has an activity based off the lesson plan on what I'm focusing on for the day. I call this staging. Every single table in your classroom should have an activity on it at all times. The only time you shouldn't have an activity on a table is during group meals, like lunchtime, breakfast, snack, or maybe while you're doing your circle time, you may not have activities on the table, or nap time. During open free choice, activities should be set out on every table. This is how you know what the children are learning and what you are intentionally teaching and assessing on. So let's walk over here to the lesson plan. Somewhere in your classroom, you should have something very similar to this. Every classroom should have our creative curriculum assessment chart. This is where we're assessing children and we're scoring them so we know exactly what every child knows and what they don't know. You also should have a lesson plan posted for the teachers so that every day you can come in and check to see what should I be doing today. Another thing you should have available to you, these are anecdotals. You'll hear me use that word a lot. What an anecdotal is it's an observation. Is what did you just see the child do? And you write down what the child can do. You should always have available blank ones. Once you make the observation, you complete it, and then you'll put it in the complete envelope. So that's kind of what the process is. So now let's look at this lesson plan a little bit. So here's a preschool lesson plan. One, understand that we use the creative curriculum, and we assess children on objectives. Objectives are basically, there's 36 things that we should be teaching children. And so I will actually, let me show you real quick. You hopefully have access to this in your classroom. If you have not seen this, ask your lead teacher or administrator if you can see where she keeps this. So this is those 36 objectives that we are assessing children on. The lead teacher or administrator who puts the lesson plan together, they're looking at these objectives to make sure that these objectives are on the lesson plan. So when you look at a lesson plan, the very first line says large group. That's basically your circle time. So this lets you know what we're going to be doing during circle time. So on Monday, we're going to go over the weather. We're going to read the book Brown Bear, Brown Bear. And we're going to give children jobs for the week. So it tells you exactly what am I going to do Monday during circle time. The next line says what small group activities we're going to do for the day. This is where we assess children. So this top section of the lesson plan, this is where we assess. This is where we want to get the children engaged in play, and we actually take those observations and make notes on what children can and cannot do. So here you can see on Monday, it says with Legos, we're going to practice proximity words, and that is objective 21A. So it says I should have Legos out. Well, guess what? That's why I staged the room with the Legos out, because that's one of the things I want the children to come and do for the day. So it's just offered as another station. I have Legos out here. On the lesson plan, with the Lego activity, it also tells me which children I need to assess. So you'll actually see children's initials on here. It says that I'm going to assess Zach, Jeremy, Donna, and Sarah. So these 4 children I want to try and encourage them during open free choice time to come over to the blocks and do a little activity with me. So if I'm the assistant teacher on Monday and I walk in the morning, one of the first things I want to do is come to this lesson plan and say, okay, the Legos are out, and if the Legos aren't out, I'm going to get them out. I understand I'm going to work on proximity words. If you're wondering, but what are proximity words? Right here it says Objective 21A. You can actually go to this, look for Objective 21A, and it will give you great detail of what that objective is and what you should be focusing on. So here we go. Objective 21 explores and describes spatial relationships and shapes. And it gives you examples of questions you can ask and things that you can do. So I am going to assess these 4 children. So since I'm going to assess these 4 children, I'm going to make sure I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take 4 of these. Let's say Zach is not here today. That's all right, just focus on the other 3. Does that mean that other children in the classroom can come over and play Legos with me and I can work on those skills? Absolutely. But I don't necessarily need to actually do an anecdotal on those other children. Just as long as I get anecdotals on the 4 children that are on the lesson plan, then we're on track. So I'm going to do 4 assessments today. So what I would do is I would have these set out. And let's say I'm sitting here and I might invite Zach. I might say, Zach, hey, come on over here, play a game with me. Zach comes over. So proximity words, that means that I want to practice with Zach, like I might say something like, Zach, can you put the red Lego on top of the green Lego? So I'm using those words on top of, besides, under. Those are proximity words. I'll have my anecdotal with me. And as Zach does it, I'm going to make notes. Zach knew what on top of was. Zach knew what under was. Zach did not know what beside was. So you're going to take those notes. This whole assessment might take 2 minutes. He moves on, other children come over. A small group means you never do it with more than 2 to 4 children. Okay, that's about your maximum group size. This isn't something you're going to do with all the children. So that just gives you an example of how we're going to do assessments for the day. Once I write down what Zach did, what Jeremy, Donna, and Sarah were able to do, then I put it in the completed envelope. From there, your lead teacher will be able to score the children. She'll put the score over here on the Excel sheet, and then that helps guide her on what to put on the lesson plan next week. So let's come back to the lesson plan. That's showing you how we intentionally assess, and it tells you every day what activity you should be doing and which children you should be assessing. Now the bottom part of the lesson plan, this is where we teach. So now that we have all this great information, we know what children can and cannot do, this is where the lead teacher will intentionally plan what materials to put in each center so that we can continue to teach children. So for example, these are some of the activities that we have set up in our center. So you can see that we have a hole punch out. So the lead teacher has added a hole punch to her lesson plan to help children work on that fine motor development. You can see that we are going to put, plant seeds in the science area. So everything has an intent. So that's where you want to make sure that you have those materials set out in the centers. So for example, the lesson plan said we needed Legos today. That's why we have Legos today. The lesson plan said that we were going to have hole punches out so the children could practice hole punching. So that's why the hole punches are out. So all the items on the lesson plan should reflect in the classroom what's on your tables and what's out in the centers. So hopefully that explains how a preschool teacher can walk into the classroom, look at that preschool lesson plan, and help implement that plan for the day.